Hello, everyone. This is Vitaly from Case, and I'm welcoming Stefan, or should I say Stefan? How is it properly said in German?
In German, it's Stefan, but I usually in international pepper they call myself Stefan.
Yes. Welcome to this short interview. I need to give you, my dear audience, the brief history behind this. I was at TestCon in Vilnius, and I was recording these short interviews with speakers. And the last day was so busy, I couldn't record Stefan, and I'm so sorry that we couldn't do this at TestCon. But now, since we're here online, we need to repay this debt. So, welcome, Stefan. Can you tell us what's your passion, or what would you like to share with the audience?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. Thanks for having me. I am a CTO and co-founder of TestUp.io, and I've spent the last 67 years or so on front-end testing. So we have specialized on testing front ends graphically, so automating the visual inspection of software. And doing this, I reached the conclusion that front-end testing is not just about the last barrier, the last line of defense for preventing bugs going into production, but it is much more. It is like a fire drill for real bugs, because when real bugs occur in production, they show up in the front end first. And it's not about finding the bugs, it's actually more about fixing them, like locating where is the origin, which component is affected, how can you mitigate it, or are there workarounds? So the speed at which you can circumvent or fix a bug is the decisive barrier. And that's what you are rehearsing over and over again when you're doing the front end testing. And so what you see from the front end side, if you see permanently looking at the application from a user's point of view, and the first impression that a software makes is when it fails, does it give you a good indication of what's going on in the software? Like, it's not about an error dialogue, it's not about design and nice language, it's about actionable insights. So if an application fails, the first thing that is maybe the most annoying is when it doesn't correctly tell you about whether it's worth waiting or whether you should retry. I find it so much more frustrating when I waste time retrying something than the failure itself. So that is to make the software good when it fails graphically for the user. And there's an interesting phenomenon that's called the service recovery paradox. It has been confirmed multiple times in various industries. So it says that users who see software failing and failing gracefully, they are more satisfied. They have a larger loyalty to your brand and your product than users with software that doesn't fail in the first place. So really failing with style, with grace, is more important and can often be the cheaper option, because when you fix your error handling, that's often a one-time investment. You change your code, you build proper error handling, proper error classes, and proper error pipelines, and that sticks. That sticks at least for much longer than the bugs and the features that come and go. So this is what you see from the front end, but then you need to link. You see the front end error, the misbehavior on the front end, and you can link that to the back end. So it's not only about making the user, but also giving the user a tool which they can then ask support. For example, what we have is we introduced UTC timestamps. So wherever the customer is, when I see a screenshot of the user, I can directly know which part in the error log is affected. I have correlation IDs and action histories, so small IDs, which help us understand what's going on the back end. Where's the connection? Because, it has a bar frontend bug. It could just be a crash, yes? It just, we don't know anything. And You need then understand your entire stack. Where is the error? This goes also into observability and correlations throughout your component. So this is what I find exciting about the front end testing. And I think it's especially and more important when you're doing AI generated coding. Like when you do vibe coding, you actually only test the front end. Yes, you might have some auto generated unit tests, but in the end, the only thing that you can really accept is the front end. And there it becomes more and more important that you actually can understand or trace back the internals of the software from what you see on the front end. And that's what you see as the entirety of front-end testing. And when we advise customers with front-end tests, then this is something that builds over time, that they understand and build a software that is easier to trace back on the errors.
I feel that
There's another-
this is very, what you're saying is very, very important to me as well, because if we look at the quality definition and the whole term quality definition, it is an ability or a possibility that the system we're building satisfies stated and implied needs of the customer. So in order for us to be able to reason about customers, how they perceive quality, what is the easiest way is to become the customer and go to see the front end first. Like this is the first thing customers see, right? They see the front end of the system. I always have this analogy. If I arrive at a new city and I see a very bad lobby of the hotel, I will not check the rooms. I will not even go into the rooms, right? I will see the lobby of the hotel is dirty, it's bad. I don't want to be there at all. So this is the first scene, the first thing customers see, the front end. And it makes perfect sense to invest into first making sure that this front end is good. If it's then failing, that we have a clear sign, the failure will be fixed by this time, and this is the information you have to provide to us if you want this failure to be fixed sooner. So this is very, very important to me. I love what you're saying.
Yeah. And the important thing is how do you behave as if you have continued with the example of the hotel lobby. If something fails, yes, how helpful is the test? And if they are helpful once, you become extremely loyal to that brand. So how do they behave in case of a mishap, and how do they fix it? And that is an important thing in how to behave in failure cases.
Yeah, what I see often, unfortunately, that teams, engineering teams, and even testing teams focus much more on things which are easier to measure. Things like test coverage of unit tests, something you've touched briefly, or the lack of flaky tests. Of course, coverage and lack of flaky tests is very, very important, for sure. But this is not what customers see. They do not see test coverage. They do not see how many tests are flaky in our system. They care about their experience. I've recently heard a very interesting, I think I read it on LinkedIn. One guy was saying that he's been flying with, let's say, Lufthansa. I'm not sure which company it was, but let's say it was Lufthansa. He's been flying with Lufthansa for 10 years, and he enjoyed onboard service, how the flight attendants treated him, how everything was working on the plane, that it was on time, etc. But recently he switched to a low-coster airplane company simply because the application on the phone was better. And this application was serving him better service. You see, overall service for him, door to door, from his flat to the destination door, was better because of the app, because of the simple thin front end. Because can you imagine how hard it is to improve on-flight service, on-board service? Extremely hard. Training flight attendants, giving more food, or giving more water, or giving wine, like improving the on-board service is extremely complex and costly. But improving the app is much cheaper, right? And this might give a better overall experience. This is fun.
Front end testing. There's a lot more to add to it. If you go to usability and design, well, does it look good? Is an important thing, but is it delivering the information that you need? And that is something that needs to go also through your entire stack. Like, does it inform you about delays? Does it inform you about options that you have? How quickly does it reflect the changes that are happening elsewhere? So that is a very, very important. Yeah. And another topic that I find very fascinating in the field of front end testing is that AI can now use the software. So if you want to know if the air flight app is usable, or if it's working, or that it could easily accessible, you can now send an AI robot, a use agent, and tell them, okay, book this flight and check if it has delays, and it will automatically flick through it. So that is a very exciting new trend that we can now test keep things and get even feedback on how usable it is, how many clicks were required, how easy is it to find. Yeah, that we can get feedback from AI and not only from humans.
Yeah, this is very interesting, particularly if we build client profiles kind of with AI agents. Let's say we want to be checking that our system is not degrading in terms of usability for kids, for elderly people, for some other groups that it's harder for us to check for. Of course, we sometimes will do focus groups. Of course, we will invite elderly people to check our app. But for day-to-day regression testing, we can use agents, as you're saying.
Yeah. The whole accessibility period is also something like if you need high contrast displays, you have a colorblind, partially colorblind, or you rely on screen readers. These are all aspects that can be tested with agents, with humans, but it's much more powerful with agents because the agents are flexible. Like if you have a new GDPR notice banner somewhere or a new feature notification, then you, in the classical way of writing front-end tests with like Cypress or Playwright, then it just fails. It just doesn't recognize the button, doesn't know what to do. But an agent just finds out, oh, I know, well, actually, here I dismissed notification. It goes to this. And even sometimes, this happens to us humans all the time. We click on some button somewhere and nothing happens. Yeah, wouldn't realize it. We instinctively just press again. But the traditional way of automating this would just stop. Yeah. But a computer use agents, they figure out, they wait, they find out what is a reasonable time to wait, what is a reasonable time after which do you retry. And if the retry doesn't work, then they retry something slightly different. Or if something wrong happens, then they go back, delete text from tiers, and enter again. So this is very, very flexible. And in long running UI tests, this really makes a difference because a UI test that runs 10 minutes, and on the final stretch, there is a new notification coming up. Yes, it makes a difference of whether you need to rerun the test or not.
Yeah, this is very, very exciting. New technologies, how they can help us in actually testing what we're building. This is extremely exciting. I love this when it's not just hype for the purpose of hype, like let's bring AI, but no, we're actually bringing it to do something meaningful, to improve the quality of our systems. This is amazing.
This is amazing what's going on. There's one field where I'm a bit disappointed with regards to what AI is doing, and that is general aesthetics. So if something is alignment is lost, it's really not understanding well what is aesthetically pleasing and what could be an acceptable UI change and what is not. And of course, a number of things like analog clock reading, like if it has angles, if something needs oblique or straight, that's something that AI sometimes is a bit unable to capture, or especially with counting. Also, if you need to count to more than three, and not only with fingers but other objects that are not aligned in a grid, then they fail. So giving a feedback on how the visual appearance is, that's still a way to go. But in terms of using apps, understanding paths, evaluating how usable a path is, that is very powerful.
This is very good. What would be your advice for testers? What should they learn now? We mentioned briefly using AI to simulate users, but not properly simulate, just a bit of user behavior, to simulate just a bit of user behavior. So this is important, I think, for testers to leverage, to understand how to use. What would be your advice for testers? What else to learn now?
Yeah. Software testers often run in a spiral, like going from bug to bug, yes? Finding a bug, reporting a bug, and then finding the next bug. And what I think is very important for the entire field of quality engineering is that we widen our horizon, not just reporting bugs, but helping the business to get faster at this cycle, getting faster at fixing bugs. And this is being faster at reporting what the bug is, not just having the application crash, but crash with the message where you can inform the right people, where you are faster to attribute if it's critical or not. And then we also should look that we can collate these errors that we see over the entire stack, like where is the error, who is responsible, what are workarounds. So getting the user perspective of the failure case into our view. For the user, it's important how well are they informed about possible mitigations. And for the user, it's important how fast is the bug being fixed. So getting the entire cycle from not just having a bug, yes or no, but how fast are we progressing on the entire spiral? And I think that's the larger view that quality assurance will have to go into.
I totally support you just saying this is beautiful. I think we should wrap up. Thank you so much, Stefan. You brought us some good, valuable advice and interesting conversation for me personally. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Vitaly. It was my pleasure. It was a real pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I have stopped